Arizona State, let's start there because they won the conference last year. There's a ton of steam on them coming into 2025. They were very close to knocking off Texas in the college football playoff. There is great reason to be optimistic about this team.
Agree.
Why do you feel so optimistic about them and have them as your top team?
I like the progress that they were able to make very quickly under Kenny Dillingham, and with the continuity involved with both the roster and the coordinators being back and assistants back, that they have taken, or they are primed to take, I believe, another step forward. We're talking about key transfers at a number of places on this roster that worked out. Sam Leavitt, back half of his season, came on super strong in November, of course, down the stretch. There is just, it seems a path for this team to continue to improve and feel confident that the offense is going to add things to its playbook, that the defense now has a self-awareness about it, what it needs to improve, what it did well last year, given everybody that's back. And I don't think you can say that about, just in terms of continuity and the roster and the playmakers out wide for ASU, and even losing Cam Skattebo, it seems to be a high ceiling running back room, even if it's not dominant and aggressive and world eating like Cam Skattebo was at his best. And you can quote me, world eating. He ate the world, Ty.
He did kind of eat the world. I am thrilled, by the way, that the Giants drafted him. As a long-suffering New York Giants fan, I use the reference often, a bowling ball with eyes. Yeah. Cam Skattebo is a bowling ball with eyes. There is a lot of production.
He's sort of like a sentient, aggressive Xerox machine making his way through a field. You're right about Cam Skattebo, and the question that you and many have, and you're thrilled that he's on the Giants now, who you sometimes claim is your team, depending on who's playing quarterback, I guess.
It's
complicated.
Sports fandom is complicated. What I was going to say is that there's just a lot of production walking out the door with Cam Skattebo, which everybody knows that's not. Again, you don't need the PhD in college football to know that if you just watched down the stretch last season. So I hear you. I don't dislike what they've got coming back in the running back room. And I do trust in Kenny Dillingham that he will figure out a way to get more out of that group than we know right now. In mid-July, we're recording this. He's going to figure it out. He figures it out all the time. But it's just, without having that thing to hang on to that you can trust going into the season, feels like a lot by default goes onto the arm of Sam Leavitt.
Wait, if the surest thing about this offense is the emergence and quality of Sam Leavitt, isn't that something good to trust?
It is, but he had Skattebo last season down the stretch. They relied upon Cam Skattebo to put them in these winning situations. And now without him, helps to get Jordyn Tyson back.
Right.
But I just feel like there is going to be much more stress on Sam Leavitt. And though I like him, as I said last episode, not all progress is linear.
I hear you.
I want to see it before I'm willing to put ASU as my number one team.
I just think they bring more to the table that we are aware of and can count on than I think the other teams I'm comparing them against within the conference. And that's good enough for me. Honestly, that's good enough for me. Their schedule is tricky, but at the same time, you're looking at a back half of the schedule of, Houston, who lost a ton, Iowa State, who lost a good amount, especially on defense, and took a step back on defense last year and lost their pop from the offense, couldn't run the ball at all, and they murdered them in the Big 12 championship game. A West Virginia team that's starting over, a Colorado team that's starting over on offense especially, a rivalry game against Arizona that was completely lopsided last year. And Arizona, in a lot of ways, is starting over, hiring a new coordinator on both sides of the ball.
Right.
And then even if you like Texas Tech, even if you like TCU and Baylor, which are totally defensible positions, TCU and Texas Tech are at home. Baylor's on the road early, and that's after Baylor already has a really rough September. And Utah is on the road, and that's going to be difficult, and that's at altitude, and I never like playing that Utah defense no matter who I am. Their offense is starting over. So if you're comparing ASU against their schedule, they're just checking more boxes about known quantities at this point in mid-July. And so looking at their schedule, looking at what they have, looking at what they did last year ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
I'm just in on Sparky, man.
Listen, I think all that's fair. Again, this is an 11-3 team from a year ago.
Pick 16th in 2024.
Pick 16th.
Yeah.
Caused them, the whole conference, as you mentioned last episode, to do away with the preseason poll. Doesn't mean anything anymore. Brett Yormark said, ixnay with the preseason polls. We're done with it. ASU's over-under is 8.5 this season. I like the over. I still feel confident about the over, but I do have some questions. The way I look at this team, and I think you hit on a lot of these points already, so I don't mean to be repetitive, but
it's okay.
Sam Leavitt, whether or not he goes quantum with his leap forward remains to be seen.
Right.
But there's a lot of reason for optimism there, especially now that Jordyn Tyson is coming back, and they've got 4 starters back along the line. That's a pretty good nucleus.
Yeah.
If the offense doesn't click, or I'll say doesn't click right away with some of the new pieces, it's because I think one of 2 reasons. Cam Skattebo and the void in the backfield. They're going to try to make up for it with what I'm calling the law firm of Brown, and Udo. Kyson Brown, Rayleigh Brown, and Kanye Udo, who they got from Army. Speaking of culture changes.
Sure.
Coming down from Army, that's a pretty big deal. Skattebo just did so much for them. He was a one-man wrecking crew.
I agree. And was great through the air. You're losing Cam Skattebo both as a running back and as a receiver, which is a big deal. Yeah.
And I've already talked too much about this. I'm sure there are ASU people out there rolling their eyes, get on with it already. Fair point. Okay, I'm just a little leery about that. The second thing is, and this is what I've been alluding to, I think, more, if Sam Leavitt doesn't develop quickly enough to handle that added responsibility.
Sure.
And again, I'm really splitting hairs with that. I'm just trying to be complete here in my coverage, or at least be honest about how I'm feeling. That said, I think the defense is going to be nails. I think it'll be pretty good. They got 9 guys back from a defense last year that ended up being a wall against the run. If you're at this point, Dan, mid to late July, whenever you're listening to this, the year of our Lord 2025, and your biggest question is, hey, who's the nickel corner going to be?
Yeah.
You're in a pretty good spot, aren't you?
Good times.
That's a good place to be at. So if it doesn't work on defense, it's because of the pass rush, which I said yesterday. They got to take a step forward there.
Yeah.
The turnover margin's another thing that, again, this is me splitting hairs. Yes, that might not continue, but hey, they're probably still going to be pretty good at it. I like ASU. I just don't like them as much as you. The only other thing that I will throw out here, and then we're going to move on.
Please.
Teams will be gunning for ASU this year.
Totally.
And there is some meaning to that. When everybody is out to get you each week,
you get everybody's
target
best
on your back. You get everybody's best. And ASU, for better or worse, last season was able, I think, to fly under the radar.
Yeah.
Suddenly they had a full head of steam and they were knocking teams off, and they were able to propel that, or use that to propel them into the college football playoff as a Big 12 title team. It will be different this year. I am not implying at all that they got there by luck last season, but it's just a wide open conference. They were able to fly more under the radar last season.
By the way, last season probably should have been 11-1 rather than 10-2. They lost to Cincinnati without Jeff Sims, who's still a college football player. He's still there backing up Sam Leavitt. Yep. Oh, yeah.
Still at ASU?
I believe so.
Good Lord.
Every indication that Jeff Sims is still there. And it just, I think he arrived in 2020, and so that changed everybody's time calculus, and didn't work out at Georgia Tech, didn't work out at Nebraska, but still at ASU. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Good